Man, if that last fight was hard, I mean, kicking off the main card is Mayra Bueno Silva and Wu Yanan. And thank God we got our thinking cap on, because frankly, ladies and gentlemen, these fights are very difficult to call. So far, we've basically seen drastic lines for even a hunch of a win, and some pretty relatively close lines for fights where people have just been let down on a regular basis. So, Mayra Bueno Silva, I mean, what do I love about her? I mean, shoot box fighter. I mean, loves to just stand and bang, but has a pretty good ground game if they want to use it. Surprise, surprise, right? I think that we've seen her try far too hard to push the pace and try to maintain a stand-up game against much better stand-up fighters. I'm going to go ahead and say that. That's where you kind of want her decision-making to be a bit better, because she could be a lot more dominant. I think you get addicted to the bonuses. You get addicted to the fight of the nights. And I think that her armbar has been really, really crazy. I mean, funny story. I mean, think about that. Her armbar has been her most successful submission, and we watched Wu sit in an armbar for about 3 to 4 minutes, what felt like an entire fight against Jocelyn Edwards. So you kind of have that interesting fact where, yeah, I mean, her best submission, I mean, we did see Wu defend an armbar for 4 minutes. So maybe she can do that. I mean, outside of those areas, I kind of like Wu's movement. She likes to showcase a few feints here and there, but the action wasn't enough for me. You know, you talk about the Inouye split decision, doesn't fight that much. She's still so young, but she's 1-3 since 2017. I mean, with that kind of activity, it's just so hard to see someone be able to, you know, even if you're using that time to get better, it's hard to see someone just go in so cold in terms of just fighting in the UFC. And I think that's where you're seeing fighters that come out of the pandemic, like Jocelyn Edwards. Jocelyn Edwards is finding her footing as a UFC fighter very quickly because she's fighting so much. And I think you're having, you know, fighters like this take on a Mayra Bueno Silva, who I think is going to push a completely different pace for her. You think about that Jocelyn Edwards fights, for example. I mean, they were on a fairly similar pace, and you look at the way Wu defends, it's a lot more of just like evasive, moving back, and I mean, she tries to threaten by coming forward, and Jocelyn was really good at using push kicks and body kicks to keep her at bay. So I really like this fight just to see where a line might be, and if there's any playable opportunities here. I mean, I know Wu's going to be the underdog here. There's just no way to give her, you know, too much of any credit, really, because you look at what Silva's done in the past. I mean, the losses are to very credible strikers in Moroz and Fior, and so you look at the fighter she's already taken on, how much she likes to strike. I think this could be a fight where she really puts on a clinic. I think if she gets in close against the clinch, I mean, some of that Muay Thai work, I think the ground game is, we're going to see it. My hunch here is that Mayra might be able to do very well on the feet, but even an ounce of, you know, just bad waters, I think that she should and very much will consider taking it to the ground. She has in the past. It's almost like, you know, it's like, let me test. Okay, no, you know what? I'm going to go back to my bread and butter and find that submission win. So it's hard to go against Mayra in this fight. Let's be real. I think a minus 190 line makes sense. I think it could be completely higher than that for so many different reasons, right? I think Wu's tape is just, it's not spelling anything great for her as a UFC fighter, whereas with Mayra, you get that excitement. You get that shoot box title. You get what you paid for. I mean, what I mean by that is, you know, you very much know what she fights like at this point of her UFC career, and it's been successful against, you know, certain level of fighters, and I think this is an example. So let's take a look at a line. I said Mayra about minus 190, but this could shoot up anywhere from now on. Let's take a look. All right. So continuing this trend of ridiculous lines, Mayra Bueno Silva, I mean, opened as a pick'em, and now we've got that line at minus 400. So first of all, if you got that line at a pick'em, congratulations. I mean, hopefully you buy a house with that. Outside of that, it's just crazy to see in our friends at Pinnacle, minus 471, my word. And the worst part about this kind of value is they've made these fighters unbettable. And, you know, I don't even see, you know, if I'm going to bet Wu, I might as well bet the finish prop. You know, I just don't see her beating Silva in a decision. I think Silva's going to be able to push pace, and even if she were to have cardio issues, I think her ability on the ground is going to help her, you know, maintain control time and get the points with the judges where, you know, you're not going to exude too much of that energy. So I'm going to say tough fight for both fighters, but let's be real. That line dictates a lot, especially in terms of movement. I think if Mayra loses this fight, it's going to say a lot more about her than it will about Wu in some ways, right? I think there is some relative disappointment for both ladies from a fighting perspective, but as a fan, you kind of look at this one and think, Silva should have this one in the bag. So let's see what we can, I guess anticipate for. I think a Wu knockout would be fun anyway. So, we know who the favorite is there. We're probably going to pick Silva. Let's move on because, some of these fights are just ridiculous and kind of lackluster with these lines. Am I right?